I mean, it's like I said, I posted a little thing about Evo tips, and it's just like not to
Yeah.
put any pressure on you, but I was just like, I know a lot of people like they get invested in seeing like a big name in their bracket, or they get intimidated, and I'm just like, you do realize that if you beat them, like everything's on you. Like you're gonna get all the hype. Everybody's whatever. I mean, there's gonna be those fanboys or whatever that be like, oh, that was a fluke, but
Yeah.
the pressure is all on them, right? You see a big name in your bracket, like the pressure is on them to perform and for them to win. And you honestly shouldn't have any pressure because, like, you play people in ranked, whatever. You run them in the tournament. If I ran into Snake Eyes in tournament, I'd be like, cool. This is an opportunity to put my name out there and show what I can do. And if I lose, then so be it. People expected me to lose, right?
Hello, and welcome to the Absolute Guard podcast. We're a competitive fighting game community podcast examining history and current events from the lens of the Arizona grassroots scene.
Yes, welcome. This is episode 86. My name is Benny, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Jon, and today we are also joined by TheXButton. How's it going, guys?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks again for having me, guys.
I just wanted to give
Cool.
a heads up to our viewers too, is that I'm talking on less than stellar audio equipment today. Just circumstances in my life. Had to disassemble my audio setup, so I'm on a temporary mic for now.
Yeah,
Sorry to
that's
cut you
all
off,
good.
Benny. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's been a while. I was looking it up. Our last episode was back on May 29th, I think.
Oh, wow.
So it's been almost 2 months. We've kind of been on this kind of
Unplanned hiatus.
Yeah, that's exactly unplanned hiatus. Just a lot of things going on in kind of both of our lives, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then talk about basically what we've been up to, and Evo, which is coming up this weekend for you guys, and kind of just go from there.
Cool. So what have you been up to lately, Benny? Like what's been how was your summer vacation?
So far summer's been really good. I mean, other than trying to get flight lessons in here and there, the big change in my life was that my work schedule changed, which was kind of for the worse because I used to have Thursday, Fridays off. Now I have Tuesday, Wednesdays off. Boo. So that's kind of lame. But other than that, like for July 4th, I went to Vegas to go see my family, spend time with my family there. So that was a good time, other than not being able to escape the hot weather. That's the only downside of going to visit my Vegas family in July, because it's like I want to get out of this weather, and it's just like I'm just going to like the same place. And you guys know that from going to Evo all these years. Like it's not pleasant when you're outside. So yeah, that's the only downside. But yeah, it was good to see family because it's been a while since I kind of like me and my wife and all the kids were all together. A lot of times it's been like just the kids, or it's just been me and the kids, and Mary hasn't come along. So that was a good time. And then other than that, I've been doing flight lessons, really trying to get landings down, and I finally got that down in the last 2 months. I was able to actually fly solo for the first time. That was last Wednesday on the 10th. That was, I mean, I honestly, like, that was like one of the coolest things I've ever done. Like I wasn't nervous at all. Even my instructor at one point, like we were kind of doing paperwork beforehand, like he's got to endorse me and stuff. Like when we were doing the paperwork, he kind of just like looked over at me. He's like, "Are you okay? Like,
oh man,
you look really, really calm." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm good." And so I mean, I was fine because like we were actually supposed to go on Tuesday, the day before, and I messed up. And usually my lessons start at 6, and for whatever reason, I told my kids to wake me up at 5:45. So I was like, I woke up at 5:45. I woke up to my own alarm. They hadn't even woken me up yet. I woke up to my alarm at 5:45, and I was just like, why did I tell them to wake me up so late? Then on top of that, I had a nosebleed. And then I was just like, so I was, I text my instructors like, hey, I'm running late. I'll be there at 6:30. And then by the time I got there, I was like, usually like when we get the keys for the plane, like we give car keys back as collateral or whatever, put it in the drawer, right?
So you don't walk off with the plane?
Yeah. So but since the kids came with me, they had the car and they left the car keys with them. So I was going to give them something in my wallet. Then I realized I didn't have my wallet. And the plan was for me to solo that day. And I was like, in order for me to solo, I have to have a photo ID and I have to have my student license, which is in my wallet. So I told my instructor, I was like, hey, I don't have my wallet today. And, luckily he lives close and he's really cool about stuff. He goes, I'll tell you what, either we could go practice a couple landings today or we could just scrap it and do it tomorrow. And I was just like, let's just do it tomorrow because today's been a mess already. Like, my mind's all over the place. Not a good state of mind to go fly, especially if I'm going to go by myself. So we just scrapped it that day. And then Wednesday went fucking perfect. Like I couldn't ask for anything better that day.
Nice. So
Yeah, good
it just
recovery.
sounds like it was all prep for the actual showtime on Wednesday. Then all the trials in advance were more to just make sure that you were absolutely ready on Wednesday.
Yeah, everything went smoothly with the landings and everything. Because pretty much like the way it went that day was he was going to come up with me for a couple landings. If everything was good with that, then I was going to drop him off on the ramp, and I was just going to go from there. And I kind of just hung around the airport, the pattern as they call it, and did 2 takeoffs and 2 landings by myself, and those were perfectly clean. And I was just like, yeah, I was super hyped up. It was like if they had a GoPro or something inside the plane, like I was kind of like almost hysterical. Like I was like laughing to myself, and I was just like, holy shit, I'm doing this.
That's so
So
cool,
yeah,
man.
that was a real awesome experience last week.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations
other than that,
on your
yeah.
flight, man. That's so I think we've actually like chronicled this since the beginning of the podcast, really. Like when you first started or rather the beginning of your journey, like when you first started taking flight lessons and now you've hit this milestone.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like I could have been going more frequently. It's like typically they say like just for consistency's sake, you should go like twice a week, and like there's been various reasons that we couldn't fly schedule wise or whatever, and then like with my work schedule changing and stuff like that, it's been tough. And then
Sure.
I think the one change that really helped me was like he asked me one day because like I get off at work at 8 a.m. and like as it's gotten hotter and like you're rolling into summer, like it's kind of miserable to fly at midday. So like he doesn't even do that. So he was like, "What do you think about flying in the evenings?" And I was like, "You know what? I could do that. Like I'm limited on the days because I have to work. I only have basically 2 days I could do that." But I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's try it." And that's been great. So all in all, like I don't fly, I don't go on lessons as frequently as I want, but it's been a lot better. The airport's not as busy, and like it's not as hot. So that's been a much better experience overall in the last few months.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm getting there.
So what's next in the coming months here? Like both on the
Um,
journey as a pilot, but also just as a fighting game player. Like what to look forward to here for Grandmaster B?
Well, I have some other flight lessons. I mean, that was going for my first solo was a huge milestone, obviously, but I still got things on like my checklist and stuff that I got to do to actually like get my license. But that should be done by the end of the year. I just don't know when, depending on like frequency of lessons and things like that, and if they think I'm ready to go for my check ride.
Nice.
Fighting game wise, like I posted the other day that I was planning to take a break from Street Fighter, mainly just because with my work schedule, like, and it really kind of just hit me. It hits me almost every year, like when Evo comes around, like that I can't go, and I haven't gone since 7 years ago, and that's always like a huge bummer to me because it's like, especially being more established in the scene here nowadays,
Yeah.
and like seeing like wanting to see how you guys how everybody here does, and then also like my friends from Alaska, that's the big event that they go to, and being able to see them, and like that's always been like a huge bummer to me. So it has also been like kind of like the big motivating factor for me to play. It's like kind of like go to tournaments locally throughout the year, then it's like, all right, this is the one major that I go to, let's see how well I could do here, right? And yeah, I posted that I was probably going to take a break, but I don't know. The more I was like on X or Twitter or whatever, seeing clips and stuff, and like I'm sure I'm gonna watch some of Evo. I might just be like, you know what, I'm back in it. Like I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
all right. So the door's open then. The break
Yeah,
is
the
the
door's
break is
open.
only that, a break.
Yeah.
For an indeterminate amount of time. Like our
Yeah,
podcast.
it's more like the door's like slightly open and my head's like sticking out, and I'm just like, hey, what are you guys doing over there?
So what I'm hearing is you're not you're not like tearing yourself down for not practicing enough then, right? You're not guilting yourself into practicing anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I might not play like be that kind of like grindy kind of phase that I was when I was playing because I was taking days off and calling in sick to work on days to go to tournaments for the first half of the year. And
Sure.
now that I don't have as many days off to use or I have other plans and stuff, it's like, well, can't attend stuff, but like I'll probably still play.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, so
That part's brand new to me. I read your message yesterday and I'm like, oh, that's a bummer, but I also, the reality is we've been going ham since launch, realistically, right? And like
yeah,
just been practicing regularly, and there's like it's a stark contrast when you compare like people in their 30s and 40s compared to like people in their teens or their 20s, as far as like family commitments and career and stuff like that, or if you have other responsibilities like if you're a TO, you know.
yeah,
Um, so like I can completely understand a break as somebody who has also just taken a break recently and coming back to it. So,
yeah. So I
um,
mean, yeah, you probably won't see me at any, I won't be at any like local tournaments, especially if they're weekends. I might try to do some of the like the online stuff if they happen on my days off and I don't have anything else going. But yeah, other than that, that's probably going to be the extent of me playing.
what is there anything about the game that's like keeping you from like really being interested in continuing, or is it more like just other stuff that is more interesting at this
It's
point?
just more. No, it's just like more just outside. Yeah, like, no, I still have fun playing the game. Like, I've always been big on trying to like you guys know me from like I've always dabbled in other characters, but like I've never really like fully changed from the character that I played from like the beginning of the series. Like other than maybe the end of 5, like when there was that kind of like gap for a couple years, and I was like, all right, I'll play, and I'm going to play Ed now, right?
Sure.
And then that was pretty much it. But for the most part, like I don't really change like the character that I play, and like I find like that's where I find a lot of motivation just in the game is like learning those new matchups. It's like, oh, Bison's out. Oh, let me learn how to deal with this, right? Or Akuma's out, that kind of stuff. So probably when the new characters come out is probably when you'll see me the most, because then I'm gonna try to figure out how to deal with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So what
Well,
about you, man? What have you been up to in the last 7 weeks?
7 weeks. Oh man. Um, I think in I think part of that actually encompasses my Oregon trip. We went to Oregon recently to go to a concert. Well, partly to celebrate my wife's birthday in a belated fashion, but there was a concert for Death Cab for Cutie and the Postal Service in Oregon, or in Portland specifically. And so we flew out there, and then we also visited her sister in Salem while we were out there. So we kind of had a cool weekend trip. And then after that, like, I remember like the night before the Oregon trip being like, man, life is about to get extremely busy. Because right after that, when I got home, like that was the next thing that weekend was my friend's bachelor slash bachelorette party. They did like a combined party in Flagstaff, and so
Yeah.
I was up in Flagstaff for a weekend, and that actually kind of you mentioned escaping the heat by going to Vegas, right? Flagstaff actually
Right.
was pretty cool in early June, so I didn't mind that one at all. Oh, I take that back. Actually, there were a couple weeks between Sam's wedding and or the bachelorette party and what's it called in Oregon. But either way, like it, I was traveling a lot essentially, and there was a particular block of time where I was traveling to Flagstaff. I went for the bachelorette party. I came home, and then I went back up there again for the actual wedding. And I
Yeah.
got to be a bridesman in the wedding, and that was super cool. So shout outs to Sam. She's actually the one that I lent the karaoke set up to,
Oh,
and
nice.
that's why I don't
Ah.
have my microphone. So, um, so that was awesome. The wedding was super cool. I got to meet a lot of new people too, and that was just super awesome. And then when I got back, like uh, the thing that we've been really like doing in the background over the past couple months here has been being on a house hunt. We want to buy a house, and
Mm.
we've been looking where we had been interested in buying a house for quite a while, but the reality is that the market is insane right now, and I recognize right now that like the audience for our podcast is fighting game players, and you probably don't really care much about the real estate market in Phoenix, Arizona right now. But I all this to say is like we were getting really close to finding a house, and I was at this point where I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a tipping point here, just similar to like before I got married too, where I'm like, my life's about to really fucking change again
Yeah.
and again and again and again. And like even if you think about like how the last like 5 years have been just globally, right? Like everything, there's always something that's changing and like upsetting the status quo, or like getting your hours changed, or like something
Yep.
completely throws you off kilter, and you kind of have to be ready to adapt to that new normal, so to speak. And I hit a spot where, and maybe it's a combination of like issues that I was dealing with at work at the time, or the fact that it is now 110 degrees out right now for a good majority of the day and even in the evening. And so it's like you're locked inside all day, and that's not too different than it was during COVID, right? So like I just went into this huge bout of depression, which is something that I found over the years that I do recurringly, and I'm getting better at like pulling myself out of it. But it just it maybe the travel took too much out of me. Again, maybe the dauntingness, or the daunting feeling of like taking the next steps in life. And then to be extra candid here, like the recent political events too really got me down. I don't try to like trumpet my politics out to the world, partly because like you see what the like you see what that looks like right now. Like everyone's
Yeah.
really mad at each other. We talk about that like tangentially on the fighting game world here, where like people are just mean to each other on X for no reason at times, or on Reddit.
Yeah.
I saw on Reddit today people were really mad because they were calling pre-jump cancel frames jump cancel frames, and that's something different, and it needs to be distinguishable because otherwise item A is in box B and we can't do that. But that kind of weird bullshit, and I found myself a little relieved compared to some of the other political news that I'd seen recently. And so I got really down after the debate because of how much of a shit show that was. I got really
Mm.
down. Like we were playing in a tournament that's actually like on the video feed right now. And during this tournament, I found out that Trump was there was an attempt on his life, an assassination
Mm.
attempt. And I'm just like, I we have a platform. It's a minimal platform in that we get to talk to our friends about stuff like this. And I've
Mhm.
heard from talking with my friends personally about like a wide variety of opinions on this front. Because like it or not, that guy is a polarizing figure.
Mhm.
I'm in this weird spot right now where it's like all you can really do is feel sad about everything that's fucking happening in the world, and it's exhausting. I'm
Yeah.
sad that we even have to have conversations like this, that shooting people is bad. Even if you don't
Yeah.
like the
Exactly.
guy that's about to get shot, that's still really bad. You can't run
Yeah.
an entire platform on like saving democracy and then cheer for an assassin, and then that
Yeah.
subverts like vote. Like
Yeah.
there's too many like contradictions and hypocrisy that's just being like blatantly shown by both parties. I'm not trying to both sides it or anything here, but just more like I can see how everybody is depressed in the national sphere as far as like the news and stuff goes, to the point where
Yeah.
everyone's finding their own ways of coping with it and tuning out. And in my case, I just like submerged myself deeply into it, like in an almost sorrowful sense. So
Wow.
all this to say is that what has gotten me out of this funk recently, and this ties into my Street Fighter life too and everything, is just that like the recipe or the healing part of this is recognizing that I can't control everything that's happening at the national scale. Like the reality is we
Mm.
vote, and that's our how we do it. And there's all these conversations about how the voting system could be rigged, or how it could be improved, how there's all that other shit, right? But what I
Yeah.
can control is the community that's directly in front of me. And I've learned over the years, or not over the years, but just even over this break here, from looking at different communities. Like I looked at the Pokemon community, I looked at Harry Potter community, despite me vehemently disagreeing with some of the views around the Harry Potter fandom. Um, like seeing how all these different communities operate, and then seeing how the fighting game community makes me feel. And I'm not talking about the global community that we're going to talk to at Evo this year. I'm talking about like locally in our scene, like the people
Yeah.
that I play with regularly, the people that we talk to on this podcast regularly, and I realized that like the world could burn, but at the very least, like the community, we can face that together. We're all
Yeah.
experiencing it at the same time, and so weirdly enough, the isolation that my depression caused was actually making things a lot worse. Which, surprise, that's what depression does. But I am really heartened to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel in the sense that I get to talk to you guys and you guys get to pull me out of it over and over and over again. Because this is like the second time this happened on the show, realistically. Where I've just like gone off the deep end, taken a big break, come back and with gusto and realized that the community actually cares and it's just a good time. So I'm getting better and faster at bouncing back from that kind of stuff, and I owe a lot of that to our audience and to you guys and to everybody that we've shared moments on this podcast with over the years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know, when it comes to kind of stuff like that, like it's not like I don't want to be informed about that stuff. Like I try to keep myself, at least in the know of what's going on. And
Yeah,
it's just like, but I'm kind of the opposite. Like Godslayer here mentioned that he watched the news and then he just got off social media after kind of like that stuff happened. And I'm kind of the same way. Like I might peruse stuff and I might look through stuff, but it's like I'm not the type to like interact or even like post like my thoughts about that kind of stuff, just
yeah,
because like I don't want to kind of deal with like the divisiveness of it all, right? Like, and like, it's not that I don't want to like talk to people about that necessarily. It's just like that's just kind of how I choose to cope with it, and it's just like, you know what, I'll keep an ear to it, and I'll keep an eye to it, and I'll see what's going on. But it's just like I don't need to really discuss things like that with other people. At least not on social media of all things. If
yeah,
somebody wants to, if we're doing it in private somewhere over dinner or something, or my dad's always the type of I'm around him that he'll bring up stuff like that. Oh, do you watch the news? Do you know what's going on? And I was like, I don't watch like TV news, but I was like, I have my sources, and like as crazy and how polarizing that X is, like it's a great news aggregate, and like I find you find trending things on there probably faster than anything else.
yeah.
So
The speed of information
yeah,
traveling through X is its biggest benefit, I think.
yeah, exactly. Like I could just be looking at something, then all of a sudden it's just like breaking news, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, huh? And I'm just like, what? It could be anything, sports or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, somebody somewhere is got a lead on this, and it's out in the world right now. So
Well, that's the kicker, right? Is that everybody's got a line where it's like, is this important enough for me to pay attention to and to invest emotional energy into, right? And I believe that there's just so many people out there that benefit from engaging you, which, the quest for engagement. I've heard it described as the attention economy. Even the fact that we have a
mm,
podcast right now and that if someone's listening to this, we have your attention, and there are people out there that are all trying to monetize that, and so like we're fighting and screaming at each other to like try to get anyone's attention to actually, and so we just end up getting more and more and more inflammatory. But like for me, like I think of flashpoints like by the way, I never thought I'd be talking about 9/11 on our podcast. I feel like it might be we have before. I don't remember, but like that was a flashpoint in my life where like I remember where I was, like how young I was in seventh grade, like what the carpool to school was like that day, all that shit, right? And so each day when something big happens, like an assassination attempt or a January 6th or any of the riots or the protests that have happened over the years, like
yeah,
I'm like, maybe I should pay attention to this. And, like I don't I'm slowly like dialing that back and be like, I'm not gonna pay attention to this. All I'm doing is burning all this energy. But then you
mm,
see like a debate performance like that and you're like, oh shit. or you see an assassination attempt, which again, that's some serious shit. And so, like I in the act of like getting back into the groove of things, picking up fighting games again, picking up this podcast again, I had to do a lot of thinking about like why I play these games, why I do this podcast in the first place. And
yeah,
we started this with being like, let's chronicle the history of the Arizona fighting game community, right? And then we got super comfortable and then we're like, okay, let's tell stories instead. We don't have to be a complete history. Let's tie into the human element of this a little bit more. And then it started being
yeah,
like, let's do topic of the day because Street Fighter 6 came out and man, are we excited about that. And throughout all of that,
Yeah.
it like we've just peppered our own personal journeys into that too, like your flight lessons or like my wedding or like all these different, you know. So I feel the need to chronicle a little bit of that, to time capsule some of where we are in July of 2024, how I'm feeling about all this, which is like wearily optimistic. Um, but yeah, so that's my diatribe. That's where I've been. That's how I spent my summer vacation, and now I'm gonna try to get back on the horse here.
Yeah, yeah. You brought up the thing about like life changes and stuff like that, and that's kind of what uh, was the catalyst for like the whole break starting, was that change in my work schedule. Because I reached out to you, I was like, hey, my work schedule's changing,
Yeah,
and then like I was saying, like I started doing evening flight lessons, and then those start at 6 p.m. and our podcast was going on at 5 p.m. and I was just like, I started thinking like, how am I gonna fit this into my schedule now? Because like I can't do it on Thursdays because that's when I should be sleeping for work that night.
sure.
And then I was like, on my days off, like I might be having flight lessons at that time. So I was just like, we were potentially talking about, I think we even tried to do it last week. We tried to do we were planning to do like a super late night show at like 9:30. And then, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was the day that everything hit the fan. That's
Oh,
with me waking
yeah.
up late for my
Yeah,
lesson and
yeah.
everything,
Okay.
and like
I'm
and
glad I
everything else.
didn't.
And I was just like, let's just scrap everything for today. Like I was done with that whole day.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, so that all started with my work schedule stuff. So it's just like, yeah, it's just been kind of crazy, and we're
Yeah, we
still
just
trying
kept
to,
slipping. Really, it
yeah, just
was
kind of settle.
Yeah, and like anytime you'd be like, "Oh, there's something going on for me," I'm like, "Well, I got something going on the next week," and so we
Yeah, it just snowballed. And I was like, I'm gonna be out of town next week. Oh,
yeah
okay, well, I'm gonna be out of town the next week, and I'm just like, okay, it's like we'll reconvene before Evo.
yeah and even my own journey, like coming back to the fighting games, like I've actually found that the break was actually really helpful. Again, like the depression part sucks, and being a couch potato, and you know, binging X-Men 97 or running through all of Marvel's Midnight Suns or all of Balatro in one go, like all that stuff. It gives you time to think, and it gives you time to reset and change and understand what your motivations are for doing the things you do. And
Yeah,
I've come back to the game with a fresh mindset too. Um,
nice.
so
Yeah, before we get to Maynard, like the one other thing I was gonna say was like, I hadn't been playing ranked, right? Like that was kind of like my main thing that I was doing, like like in the last phase of Street Fighter, right,
sure.
and online and stuff, and like, but instead of doing that, like I was playing just kind of casually with Jeff and whatever when Bison came out, and then um, I was getting paired up with Scott at work, and we hadn't been paired up at work for months, like for whatever reason, and we got paired up, and when we get paired up, there's a lot of downtime. So he was like, you know what, I'm gonna bring my setup, bring your stick, and like we'd play for like 2-3 hours and just run through whatever. Like he was trying to help me level up, and he's just like he was that was like basically when Akuma came out, and then a little bit after Bison came out. So like I was having like crack sessions at like I'm sitting around the airport in a car playing Street Fighter for like 3 hours of all things, and that was my time to play. Like and the rest of the like I would take breaks after that because I was just like, man, I just played 3 hours last night. Like I don't want to play this game right now. And then I would be
It,
go playing Balatro too, and I was just like,
Balatro, dude, that's so good.
yeah.
Can we just take a moment to think about like how things have changed in your life in particular? Because I remember when you were in Alaska, you were talking about how you'd heard of Saber, and then now in 2024, you're getting private lessons in the back of a car with him. You guys both have sticks out.
Yeah, to me,
Oh
like, yeah,
man.
before I even moved here, yeah, like that the whole the Evo moment that he had with Baye and Sakura and
Hmm.
all that stuff, like and I knew when I knew I was coming here, yeah, it was like, man, I'm going to the place where this guy lives and stuff like that, and then like, yeah, move up till what, I think I've been at this job almost 3 years, yeah. Other than knowing him from the FGC and playing in tournaments and stuff, it was just like when I was looking for another job, he was like, "Hey, you should come work with me, work over here." And then
Yeah.
fast forward to like the last like 3 months, like yeah, playing Street Fighter in the middle of the night, in the front of a car actually.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit less clandestine then. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Shout outs to Scott. I think he celebrated 45 years on this earth
Oh
the other
yeah.
day. So happy belated old man.
Happy belated,
yeah,
Scott.
Yeah. What's the end? The other thing was like because he had got this new portable monitor, this like Chinese off-brand Chinese thing, and it was just like, and like he was using that when we were playing, like it was sitting on the dashboard of the van or whatever, and then I was really liking it, so I actually ended up getting one of those for Father's Day. So I've got one of
Oh
those
wow,
portable monitors too. So yeah,
that's a hell of a
well,
Father's Day gift. That's awesome. Okay.
Nice.
yeah. So that's been pretty cool. But yeah. So Maynard, man, you've been one of our guests plenty of times, kind of like our third host co-host. What have
Yeah.
you been up to in these last kind of 7 weeks?
Honestly, so much Street Fighter.
Yeah, you've been actually
So
like plugged into the community, so you're ticket to like what happened? What did we miss?
yeah. I mean, for the most part, well, actually thinking about it now, we missed the episode of talking about the 1 year anniversary for Street Fighter 6.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. All the costumes finally went on sale, so I got the tournament set up all updated. Big shout outs to like Honorable. Oh my god, I don't have it ready, but like
Wait, the
Jason
costumes are
Loser,
on sale?
they went on sale for a small period of time for that.
Oh, is it over?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so. Unfortunately,
Okay.
but it's good to know that they are doing sales. So
Yes.
hold out. Like I didn't think that they would, and hey, it came around, and we just maxed out and got the rest of the costumes. So the entire setup for the tournament setup, 100%. Even all the colors. They released a limited edition or EX color for Akuma, and like everyone got like 10 color. Did the 10 costume. It used to just be a pre-order only, so it's kind of cool to
Yeah.
finally get that. But we had a lot of tournaments. We took a break in May because April we finished the X Championship Series, XCS, and
XCS. Woo.
holding that large tournament series, like 3 tournaments for those 2 months each.
Yeah.
Had to take a break, and then came back strong. June we had Down to the Wire, Secret Labs, and then I'm also hosting like this Ranbat boot camp thing called the X Circuit. I should call it the
Yeah.
X Circuit series, so it's another XCS. But that one was cool. The X Circuit, just to break it down for everybody, because I do want to do this as a bi-monthly. So this is the off month right now in July. I'll probably do a signups again when Evo's over. But what it is you're in a round robin pool. So in this case, we had 8 people, and then I would assign 2 people, 2 matches, or sorry, like 2 matches for the week against 2 other opponents. So in this case, as an example, we're all in this call, and we have a match where I would fight Porta John and I would fight AK Grandmaster B, and I would just say, hey, here's my schedule. Tell me what works best. I'm off Wednesday. I'm off Thursday. When can you fight? And then Benny would be like, hey, I'm off Wednesdays too. Let's meet up. Let's play our match. And then we'll play a 1st to 5 and record our scores. The cool thing was that this time around, like I tested it in May. It worked out pretty nicely. I only had a group of 9 people. This time we had 24 people. I wanted to set it up to where we divided it into 3 groups. So we had 3 groups of 8, all of varying skill levels. I try to keep the skill levels like as close as possible. And we had some good matches, good turnouts. I don't have it pulled up, and I don't have it memorized immediately, but I know for a fact like Schogberg dominated the mid bracket. He just went clean sweep, full wins, no losses, nothing dropped. And then on the 3rd bracket, I believe it was Jason Loserpants that also did like a full sweep. Yeah. I'm such a bad person to not have it pulled up immediately, but we did have a small delay on our the 1st bracket, so I'm going to try to.
That one also had a sweep, if I remember correctly. Like Blaze Deathblade beat everybody.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Blaze Deathblade actually did a full sweep, and I think Freezy was the one that was like threatening that. Unfortunately, he did lose to Blaze Deathblade. I'm sorry. I know you're in the call right now. You probably don't want to hear that. Or not in the call, but in chat. But it's kind of cool. But outside of the X circuit, Freezy has been dominating the whole tournament scene. Down to the wire. That was his first tournament in Tucson. I decided to sponsor him because Freezy being 15 and not able to work, he needs to make money to be able to go to Evo. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Right now, you're shining bright. You won like your last 2 to 3 online tournaments. You're destroying the scene right now. Let's get you into Tucson. Let's get you, those prize pools and get you something for Evo. And you know what? He showed up. He dominated the bracket, taking first. And the cool thing was Tucson eats boogers because we had a Phoenix top 3.
I didn't say it.
I'm just kidding. Tucson, if you guys are here, I love you guys. But we had Freezy on first, Big Mac Combo 98 on second, Sia on third, and then Driftwood was the one that showed up in fourth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, taking it. It's like Orange and Mark in fifth, Trellix and Sinby in seventh. And this was my first time like actually kind of popping off with Cammy. I'm not sure. I don't remember if I brought it up, but I switched to Cammy. I think Marissa's a dead character. So this was like my first like real tournament and trying to just dominate. And I came up in ninth. I actually had a really sick match with Trellix where we came down double Luigi last game, last round, and we had it all the way down to the last interaction. I had a fierce on him. He had like a jab, and that was it. Like it was kind of cool. We had a 20-second stalemate of just staring at each other and trying to get the kill. So I wish we had that match recorded. It's unfortunately gone to the history books, but so that was down to the wire in June, and then 2 weeks later we hosted it in Phoenix. We got it back with Secret Labs. I called it Back to the Lab again. Had a little Dexter's Lab character with Akuma's face. And the funny thing is, or not funny, the crazy thing is that Akuma only had one tournament in Arizona as the special new shiny guest, or not guest, but the new shiny character. Because as soon as Down to the Wire was finished, and Bison showed up, and he was here for Secret Labs. And the crazy thing was that we had 2 Bison characters in top 8, Swift Milk and Norm the Third, being 5th and 7th respectively.
Nice.
And then we also had 2 Jamie players, Drunk Jamie Overload, and Gooby in 5th and 7th respectively. But Freezy once again showed up, took first place. Guile taking second with not Guile, Sia taking second with Guile. Big Mac Combo 98 in third, and then I was able to take fourth. And I was really excited to be able to just pop off and take the lessons I learned from Down to the Wire and apply them here at Secret Labs.
Nice.
So
nice.
I know I kind of just did this in a weird order.
No. That's good. That's good. I was gonna ask, like, what was your so you mentioned Marissa? You think that she's a dead character. What was the reasoning for you to pick Cammy of all the other characters that were available to you?
Yeah. So coming into season 2, like Marissa was already starting to feel a little closed in. I felt like the ceiling and the floor and the ceiling were getting very close. I felt like I was tapping the ceiling. Jon showed me some cool tricks, and I originally thought I was raising the roof, but no, I was definitely just tapping the ceiling with just like a little spatula. I'm able to touch the top, but so for the most part though, playing Marissa, like I liked her Oki. I liked the crouch medium punch footsie's game, kind of like capitalizing on it. And I was like, you know what? Thinking about it, like Cammy kind of has similar tools. She doesn't have the damage, but she has the Oki game. She has the crouch medium punch interference, like Oki, or not Oki, neutral game. Maybe I could apply those things. And now I have a low forward with Cammy. I have a dive kick with Cammy. I have more options in the neutral. And because I lose out on the damage, I go from 3 guesses to 5 guesses to get a kill. It felt like the choice to make. Like I felt like it's something that I could see the tools that I learned from Marissa and could apply into Cammy. And definitely
don't forget the walk speed either.
Oh yeah, the walk speed. I always mention like Marissa should get rollerblades in the patch. She didn't get those. So I was like, more for sure, move over to Cammy. Cammy was a great choice. Like I definitely dropped a lot of things. It was terrible for the first 2 months. Anyone that played me was like, nah, you're making the wrong choice. Go back to Marissa. And I'm kind of glad I stuck with it because it felt really good. And I also played in an online tournament, and my first match was against Knuckle Dew. And and I was able to steal it from him. And I mean, we joke
Yeah.
about it, the Knuckle Dew Slayer jokes. I love it, but Knuckle Dew, if you ever watch this, which I don't think you will, but if you do, I love you, dude. You're a good player. But I'm still gonna joke about it. And by transitional properties, Freezy lost to Knuckle Dew, so I'm better than Freezy. But
there you go. Transitive property, yeah.
But yeah, Cammy was just a great change. And having Shockberg, he's also in the chat, show me some of the tools. Shockberg, Dana, and of course like Freezy and John, like helping me with the foundation of the combos. I do feel like the change was just the right choice, and it fits me. The glove fits much better.
Nice. No, that's great, because like a lot of times when people try to change characters, they hit those kind of growing pains, like you said. Like you said, it sucked for the first 2 months, and like people will kind of hit that, and then kind of just, you know what, this isn't for me, and then back off completely and kind of go back to what they were doing. So for you to kind of hit that and just be like, you know what, in the long term, this is going to pay off, and it's only going to get better from here. Like, that's great to see, because like, yeah, like I said, like a lot of people will back off from that kind of adversity, and and nothing wrong with that either. Like if they feel that that's not for them, but it's just like sometimes you have to be looking further down the road. Like you said, like if you already figured out, hey, this character isn't good, or I'm hitting the ceiling with this character, and this is probably as far as I'm going to be able to take her, and the limitations of what she can do, then maybe it's time to look at that way. Like I've seen a lot of that in the Dalsum Discord after Akuma, or after Bison came out. A lot of it was just like, why did they give all this shit to this character? And Dalsum's bottom 3, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, man, you guys are overreacting. Like, it's a tough matchup, but it's just like not every matchup's gonna be even. Like that's the one thing that I think I see the most in a lot of this the X discussions and things like that, and in the Discords, is like people are expecting every matchup to be like even, and like it doesn't need to be like that. And honestly, like I don't want it to be like that, because then it kind of homogenizes everything, right?
Mhm.
Like there needs to be matchups like Sim versus Geef. There needs to be matchups like Bison versus Sim. I think that matchup freaking sucks for Sim. Like he doesn't have a lot of answers for Scissors and other things, but I've got to work around it if I want to play the character. Or like I hear a lot of times from like Mr. SNK or other characters is like, well, you might need to learn another character for that matchup if you want to deal with it a different way. Otherwise, suck it up, and you can't complain about it if you're just gonna if you're gonna play the matchup or stick with that character for that matchup.
I agree. I think that the only way to actually get true like 5-5 like equilibrium in this game is for both players to be playing the same characters. In any fighting game, any kind of asymmetrical multiplayer game, like there's no way to achieve true balance. But if you don't achieve true balance, then people will take every opportunity to complain about that and use that as an excuse for why they lose. So
I mean, yeah, it's just like this tough matchups are going to be there. It's just like I mean, unless you're playing the top tier characters where it might not be as bad, but again, that's your choice to play that character, and that's not always going to be the thing for somebody else, because it's easy for somebody to say, just play Luke, just play Ken. I don't want to play those characters. Those characters don't appeal to me at all. Like I look at them like just aesthetically, and I'm just like, I don't want to play these bums.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to play somebody else.
Ken, a literal bum.
Yeah, I've been playing some Ken recently. The way I rationalize it too is that like you get to express yourself in your character choice, right? And so like the cost of that expression, like the fact, like if all the characters were the same, then there wouldn't really be a need to express yourself, because there's no difference in the characters really. And then so you're like, okay, well, the cost of my character being unique and different is that yes, I will have some bad matchups, and that sucks, but otherwise you're playing a Shoto.
yeah, exactly. Like I mean, I don't consider myself like the low tier hero type of guy. Like I play who I want to play, and like I really think Dalsum has some fucking cool shit. And like when I see people's reactions to me doing some cool shit, I'm like, yeah, I did that, right? And I love it. Like when we were at Casa Grande, and like some of the other guys that were there, they're like, oh my god, your Dalsum's so sick. Like I love that kind of stuff. If I was playing Luke, I probably wouldn't get as much praise. They're just like, oh man, crouching medium punch, Oh God.
How big his forearm is.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the same kind of response. So it's just like to kind of hear that and like like you said, like looking at the stats from like CFN and Capcom put out, like Dhalsim's like the rarest character in the game. So it's just like I even get in the hub. When I get my ass kicked in the hub too, and then there's times when I kick somebody else's ass, and they're just like, "Oh man, you got a really good Dhalsim," and I'm just like, "Cool, thanks." You know what I mean? Like I love that kind of stuff.
Agree. I like I'm gonna totally humble brag right now, but like part of the reason why I got sucked into X today is because I was featured on a post by somebody who was saying that the top 200 players that they were to watch out for in Evo pools, and I was on there,
Mhm.
and my ego
Hell
grew
yeah.
so large, and I was like, yeah. And in reality, like I remember I shared that to a friend, and I was like, all I had to do is play a whack ass and weird character, and then you get noticed on the internet. And you think that I'd be lying, but like Shumagarath, Crimson Viper, Abel, like our scene has like all the characters that Marvin plays in any fucking game, like Teddy or Axel, like, or Scott and his weird Paul Phoenix fetish,
Sakura,
like Cody, we all play Mr. SNK with Honda, like we all play weird characters, and that's the only way we differentiate ourselves from the West Coast guys.
I probably shouldn't play Cammy then, huh?
Yeah, let's say that too. That's the other side of it. It is different.
Yeah, no, I was just like again, like I was looking through X, and then like I kind of just stumbled on that, and then I'm like curiosity was piqued, and I was like, I wonder if I know anybody on here that not the usual names, Daigo and Punk and all them, and then I was like looking through it, and your name just happened to be in that last column, and I was like, oh shit, John's there, like yeah.
I see in chat too. Tim says put some respect for Incross. Excuse you. I do have respect for him. I think, or him or her, or they're very very intelligent. That list was very clearly put together with a lot of great care and great consideration of who deserved to be on there. So yeah, like me. I have a whole theory that I think I got seeded really high in my pool at Evo because I placed pretty high last year. And then all you have to do is just run through every single pool and look at the top couple seeds and see if you know that name. And so I've engaged with Incross on Twitter before. I think I associate them with Reddit. And I can't remember exactly what we talked about last time I engaged with them, but decent people, decent person. And I'm very grateful. My ego grew so big. I'm the best. Even though I'm not actually the best in Arizona right now. We got like 5 players that are better than me.
Right. I mean, it's like I said, I posted a little thing about Evo tips, and it's just like, not to put any pressure on you, but I was just like, I know a lot of people, like, they get invested in seeing like a big name in their bracket, or they get intimidated. And I'm just like, you do realize that if you beat them, like, everything's on you. Like, you're going to get all the hype. Everybody's, whatever. I mean, there's going to be those fanboys or whatever that be like, oh, that was a fluke. But the pressure is all on them, right? You see a big name in your bracket, like, the pressure is on them to perform and for them to win. And you honestly shouldn't have any pressure because, like, you play people in ranked, whatever. You run them in the tournament. If I ran into Snake Eyes in tournament, I'd be like, cool, this is an opportunity to put my name out there and show what I can do. And if I lose, then so be it. People expected me to lose, right?
Yep.
So
it comes down to whether or not, whether or not you have an expectation to win or not, and if that expectation is because of your past, like, your pedigree or whatever, that just equates to more pressure on you, I think.
Exactly. So I mean, you should honestly. I feel like you shouldn't have any. I mean, you might have nerves, but I don't think you should have like nerves due to pressure. You should have nerves due to like, holy shit, I'm going to play on the Evo stream in front of 20,000 people or whoever, all these people live. You can have nerves for that, but you shouldn't be like, oh man, I got to play this guy. He's going to kick my ass. Like, nah, don't worry about that.
That's my option select from last year. Fought on stream. That was the time where Sajam and Yipes lost their mic.
Yep.
That's right. That's
because of my match.
Yeah. Yeah, because that other clip with them went viral because they couldn't hear the sound, and they were like making the sound effects for the game.
Yeah,
Oh
and
man.
last year I got to watch you play Big Bird, or yeah, it was Big Bird, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Big
Yeah.
Bird, and then
We got to
I
see
got to
Angry Bird
watch.
get salty.
Yeah,
For
Angry
Big
Bird
Bird.
got salty. He's like, oh, what is he doing right now? He's letting him get away with this. What else?
He's using your own stuff.
I got to watch Mark Anthony play Moke. That was tight. I obviously I'm gonna cheer for Mark, but like I really like watching Moke play. Um, I yeah, there's just opportunity to play so many different people at Evo. I forgot what my original point was there. Oh right, yeah, Evo in general. Yeah. So another thing is, so this show is the last show we're gonna have before Evo. It's literally like I'm literally hitting the road tomorrow. Maynard, I think you're hitting the road tomorrow as well.
Yep.
The difference between this episode compared to like last year's episode when we went over Evo 2023 is that we have already like talked about Evo in the weeks leading up to it. When we kind of started becoming more of a news show and talking about current events, anytime a new announcement about Evo would happen, like we'd react to it. So like there's a
Yeah.
couple episodes in our backlog about like Evo 2024, their choice in venue, their choice in price, and all that other stuff. So we talked about that shit at length at this point.
Yeah.
So I was curious about. So check those episodes out if you haven't seen those yet. But Benny, that post you made in the Discord, like the tips and tricks and stuff, I would love to kind of go through some of that stuff on the show for anybody that missed that post.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I just put it in our Discord here, and it's just like like I said, I haven't been to Evo 7 years. It's been 2017, but like, um, I don't know. It made me think about a lot of things. So I saw a lot of the tips that you guys were putting in there too,
A lot of first
and
timers going this year.
yeah,
So
yeah, a lot of first timers. And then what I saw, my friend Banky, who we had on the show before, I saw him post up the shirts that they made for the Alaska group, the AKG group, and on the back of it, there's a kind of like a character select thing. Like I've talked about that before in terms of like the characters, and there's 40 characters on the back. So at first I was like, holy shit, you guys got 40 people coming down, and then somebody came in and was like, no, we got close to probably like 60. The others just didn't want a shirt, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a big group of people. So yeah, if you guys are one trying to get a match in with the Alaska guys, I gave him a heads up because I guess AZ Jack here, his brother lives in Alaska and is good homies with them. So I gave
oh,
Banky a heads up,
okay.
like, hey, there's a connection there. That might be your bridge to like get some communication going. If not, you guys can put you guys in touch with him too. So because they're always
Cool.
looking whenever they go down there to play any of the other regions. Like that was one of the things we'd always try to do, like a 5v5 with like SoCal, NorCal, Utah, whatever. So yeah, if you guys got time to set that up somewhere, that'd be pretty cool. I'd love
I
to
know
see how
that
that
there
goes
will
down.
be, yeah, there will be like Arizona players will be sticking together. Like I think there's a suite or two out there, so maybe we can talk that one through with folks that are behind all that.
Nice,
That'd be
nice.
cool. Yeah, I haven't played the Alaska guy since that one year in for Street Fighter 5 when I
Yeah.
lost to a Fong player. Ugh.
Oh.
He was good. He was good, but man, I was salty. Oh man.
Yeah, one of the notes that I mentioned in there was in particular the kind of like notes or like one thing like I saw Maynard was kind of gathering information on people's pool times and like the stations and stuff that they're playing. That's something that I used to do too
Yeah.
because like I always wanted to know where people were at. And like I knew from experience, like you're not gonna be able to pull up the brackets or whatever, on your phone or whatever quickly. Like your battery's getting drained, your data's, everybody's using their phone. So like I used to print stuff out. Like I would make a spreadsheet and print it out, and then I gave copies to people. And like, here, this is where everybody's at.
Damn, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that too. I mean, you still got time.
I mean, one idea I just had while we were talking about it is why don't we just take a screenshot of that write up that you wrote in the Discord and put in an image and then paste that image everywhere.
Yeah.
That way they don't
That's
have
what I
to
was saying. Like, yeah,
yeah. You can save
yeah.
it if you want, or we can post it to social media or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like putting stuff in different order, and then I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna put this in the front because like this is probably like one of the most things that you're probably gonna reference is probably like notes, whether you have personal notes for yourself or whether matchup notes or something in general like that, or just the pool times of your friends or whoever.
Yeah.
Screenshot that stuff and have it accessible offline because your signal's gonna be spotty as hell in there.
Yep. It's in a brand new convention center, or not brand new, but it's in a venue that I've never been in before, and the Evo's never been in before. Like we've been to the Westgate before, but never the convention center.
I thought we were at the
Yeah.
convention center for the Street Fighter V release.
Yeah.
No,
It's the
that
same.
was Mandalay Bay.
No. The Street Fighter V one, we were in the convention center one year.
Yeah, because that was my first Evo.
Because I
thought
stayed.
that was-
Because I stayed across the street from the convention center that year. That's where I did the AZ Alaska thing. Because I was staying in like this kind of like lofty like apartment kind of thing with some friends.
For real? Wow.
Yeah, we were in the LVCC.
I believe the finals went to Mandalay Bay for the stadiums.
Oh shit. Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then we went back to Mandalay like a couple years later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
the
everything
year-
was
the
at
year
Mandalay.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then everything was in
shit. So we
Mandalay,
have been
yeah.
there before.
Yeah, because that was
Yeah.
when the lanyards at Evo Championship.
Oh, that was the
Yeah.
champion one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the year that Mary was on stream and you helped her out. Like that was at the convention center.
Yeah, that was literally chronicled on one of the episodes. Like, this is a good way to cross promote too. Like, go check out the episode with Mary where we go through it. We literally like talk about that in that year, that specific event. That shit was in Las Vegas Convention Center. I thought it was in Mandalay
Yep.
Bay. No way.
No,
Okay.
that
Cool.
was in the LVCC. I remember.
Cool.
I remember
Maybe-
that year too, my feet hurting because I hated the way that the floor was. So I actually
Yep.
bought some new shoes. So
Yeah.
Yep.
got some extra cushion. I'm excited about that.
Oh, nice. Maybe I should do that. It's a little late.
You can still buy shoes in Vegas.
I'm sure those will be extra cheap too. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't shop at the strip.
And just money match someone, you'll be fine.
Oh man. Well, any big plans on your end for Evo? The TheXButton, Maynard?
Well, the big thing I'm excited about being that it's at the convention center for all 3 days, including the stadium day, the usual finals where usually we'd have to pack up and it's just only spectator stadium event only. It's so cool that the Hado made a post and saying, as the event, comes closer to the finals, more of the stations in the venue will be opened up for casual play. So, on the
That's
last
huge.
day, up until 4 p.m. because 4 p.m. is when Tekken is. I'm probably gonna do like a few games of 2XKO. I really want to play that. Also, for anyone that isn't aware, if you signed up for the Alpha Lab beta and you play at the event at Evo, you do get priority. And I believe they did mention that priority means you will get access to the key. As you just got to do the survey.
If I could add one clarifying point, you don't even need to play it. Apparently, you just need to like take a picture of the QR code that they've got displayed, do the survey, and then that's guaranteed.
Yeah, so
So you might not even have to wait in the line. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but I do want to play that a few times. I've already hit up like Honorable, Freezy. I want to get some games in with those guys. But even then, being that Evo, that's a wide pool of players that you have access to offline. So up until 4 p.m., I'm probably going to be just playing all day. I'm going to pack up some fruit snacks, some bananas. Sorry, you can't have any, John. But yeah, just get some games in until the stadium time. And 4 p.m. when Tekken happens, like I'm pretty sure no one's going to get up off their seat. It's going to be Tekken to the Street Fighter and just going to lock in the seat and lock in from there and enjoy the event.
Nice. The finals day stuff in particular is very interesting to me because of this. Like, again, we talked about the controversy around the price, but what we're paying for is essentially 33% more convention, right? And so is it 33%? No, it's like 25% more convention rather. It's 4 days now. Or is it? No, it's 3. Yeah,
it's 3.
goes from So sorry, 3 days. So the big thing is like our community has changed over the years where like salty sweets have become a thing, right? Like, and that was cool like in 2011 or so when things were really starting to like heat up and money was starting to get injected into the scene and whatnot. But over the years, like we've kind of lost a lot of the grassroots feeling because a lot of the top players have kind of just isolated to specific suites. So the idea of everybody being all under the same roof playing together isn't actually happening as much anymore. And I don't think that will really change a ton for the existing top players right now. Like you're not going to see Punk on the floor of the convention center if he doesn't make top 8, right? Like on finals day, he's going to be doing his own thing because they're on a different level here. But I am really looking forward to being able to just meet a ton of people. And you'll probably meet a lot of like the tier below the top players of really really strong players just hanging out playing casuals. And those are the people that were usually left out in the cold when the finals were occurring in the arena and there were no casuals
Yeah.
anywhere. So they would also go to suites or just hang out in rooms or whatever, do a Vegas vacation. But now there's a place for those folks to go, and I'm excited to mingle with them and get to know them because that's kind of where I consider myself to be, which is not at the top, but enough to want to play casuals on finals day and not go to the arena.
Yeah.
But
I
now you're a
actually
top
wonder.
200 player. You're a threat.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Incross. Oh man, I feel so flattered. And
No,
my ego.
I was gonna
Oh
say
man.
like you mentioned like maybe some player like that doesn't make top 8 wouldn't be in the arena, but I wonder if somebody may try to take that opportunity to maybe money match like the general public.
Oh hell
It's
yeah.
just like monetize and be like, you know what? I'm gonna be here at this station. Come play me. First to three, $20, right? And that's your opportunity to go play nephew or somebody, right? And just
Yeah.
be like, take your shot, that kind of thing. Like, I think, because a lot of those players, like, I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I would love for them to like take the time and to play with everybody. But especially at an event like that, like time's limited. So if they want to just say, hey, if you want to play, we got to play a money match kind of thing, and they want to try to make some money off of it, then so be it. So like, I think that would be kind of cool if somebody just did that. They were just like, hey, we're taking over the station, come play me, and set up a queue or whatever.
I mean, that ties into how it used to be too. Like if you go to like some of the older tournaments, like Final Round or SCR or something, the top players literally wouldn't have anywhere else to go because you weren't gonna have a salty suite in like the fucking Proud Bird in California, right? Or maybe you would. Tim, you can correct me on that one. But like, so you would get the access to go and money match a lot of these top players. But again, it's it there's a barrier of entry and that you have to put up the money to play them. But like
Yeah,
nowadays, there's a bigger entry where now you need to put up the money to get into the suite that they're in order to money match them. So like
yeah,
I'm hoping that it kind of reinvigorates that old culture where yeah, well, we can money match on that floor and you know that's how you level up really fucking fast. The people that like
yeah,
go from major to major and major and then just get really really good right like quickly, it's because they're constantly in high stakes situations and that just that forces you to internalize what you learn in a much like more efficient fashion. So
yeah. I think like that's the one thing I did like about like when I heard that from the Hado about them opening the casual stations, in the for that last day because like the arena is great and for the people that want to pay for that experience and be there, um, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I guess it's included in the price now, but the people that want to be in that area is great. But I mean, there's a whole like you said segment of people that want to continue to play and want to continue to take that opportunity while they're there with all these players from all over the place that they don't get to play all the time, right? Whether it's regional players or whatever, different countries, like that kind of thing. Like this is your opportunity to get a chance to go play those people. So it's just like I really like that they're doing that, and like I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a feed in there for the finals. I don't see why they wouldn't. That'd be kind of dumb, honestly, in my opinion.
it I hope they do, but I could see why they wouldn't do it because that would detract from selling the arena tickets. Or wait, no.
Yeah,
I don't even know how
but
that
it's
shit
not really.
works. Is there
Yeah,
an
that's what I'm
arena
saying.
ticket? Yeah. Where does it
No,
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 I
where are
believe it's in
finals
the
even
price.
at? Yeah.
The finals
it's supposed to
are
be
going to be in the same venue. It's just right next door.
yeah, yeah,
Oh. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind then. We're good. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No.
So
I
if
see
you
that.
look
That's
at
what I'm
the,
saying. Like that's
I
what
was
I'm saying.
gonna,
Like there's gonna be like the people that want to be in like literally in the arena area. Like
Yeah.
they have that opportunity and like, but at the same time, there's gonna be limited space. And then to still have that available and like the casuals where people want to play, I think is great.
I could even see them possibly even like where they're having the regular streams, they'll probably put some footage up there. So even if the stadium is packed and full, like even in some of the casual areas, they'll probably have some spots to spectate and still catch the thing live as it's happening. So you
Yeah.
can still
Yeah,
hear the volume of this crowd going wild and be a part of it as well.
Yep.
yeah,
Because that's the other side of it is like being in the arena. It's nice to experience it with other people, but too loud to actually talk and like discuss the match while you're playing it, compared to like, hey, like, you know, Rick used to throw Capcom Cup viewing parties at his house, and then we would all go and play Street Fighter while watching it, and that was my favorite. I think Ethan did that one year as well when they announced Street Fighter 6 and everyone bitched about Wide Ryu. Remember Wide Ryu? We were so mad. And then we were like, oh man, this game's gonna suck ass like Street Fighter 5 did. How wrong we were. But my expectations for Evo this year are very much lower than they were in the past, than last year's. Last year I was traveling and playing in every tournament that I could and had high expectations. This year, again, just given the fact that like my life changed very drastically over the course of this year, like I just haven't really, I don't have the same drive, but I do want to see all my friends. So I'm going to be making sure I spend a lot of time with friends that are local to Vegas, that I usually catch up with whenever we go. Friends that live in different states now, but we're both going to be in Vegas at the same time because of Evo. Like going out to nice dinners, spending time with my wife, stuff like that. So I'm going to make sure I do a better job with that compared to like running around and trying to network as much. But maybe that'll prevent me from getting COVID this time too, because that sucked. Don't share drinks with specific people.
Speaking of it, is Jess going to be playing as well? She played last year. I was curious.
She registered, and then but she also picked up indoor rock climbing recently. So while I was talking about my depression earlier in the past couple of weeks, and I was just sitting on the couch playing Marvel's Midnight Suns, she was out like picking up like indoor rock climbing again. That's actually how we got to know each other before we were friends before we started dating. Is we were part of a rock climbing group that of coworkers where just after work we would go to the rock gym like 3 times a week. And she took a passion for bouldering. And then found a specialty bouldering gym, a decade later at this point. So she's back in on it, but right, the whole point of that is she injured herself while doing that. So she sprained her finger, and the reality is she hasn't been practicing. She's been playing Helldivers, and so like this actually is a decent excuse to not have to haul an arcade stick around.
Okay.
So someone's gonna get a bye. That sucks, but I don't begrudge her for doing that. You can't really play with a broken finger, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Awesome. And did you have any goals, John? Like, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but I was kind of curious if you had anything in mind.
Yeah, I was gonna ask both of you guys that.
Yeah. So I'm in this weird spot where like I got 65th in the last Evo, so like the likelihood of actually achieving that or greater is much lower, I think, because there's less people who entered the tournament this time around. The skill level differential is different compared to when the game first launched. But I do know that because I was seeded so well, like my path to top 65, top 128 and top 65, or top 64 even, is actually pretty straightforward. So I do think that there's a possibility that I could make it to third round pools and make it to top 128 again. Even if you like check that show projected box on Smash GG, it has me losing to a player in Japan, a player from Japan in second pool, and then to Zaffarino in third pool. So I could, I don't know. Like the other side of this game is huge now. Like this game, this tournament is bigger than Street Fighter 5 launch tournament still. It's over 5,000 people. So I'm like, the bracket could just fall that way. That there's that many, like, because what am I trying to say? Like IDOM and NuckleDu could run into each other earlier in the bracket, and I could just not run into them at all because of how big this fucking bracket is, and then I could end up really high because I got a good lucky bracket. And it just seems like I got a lucky bracket this time around because of the way the seeding turned out. So I would like to make it to third round pools. That's a goal of mine, but I'm not gonna like beat myself up if I don't, because I know I'm not in the same shape I was last year.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
What about you, Maynard?
So last year I got out of round 1 pools and then immediately lost. So like I at the very end of my round 1 pool, I fought Big Bird, and then win or lose, it immediately got me out of the pool, which was interesting. I don't know why the bracket worked that way, but it is. It's how it worked. This year they have it a bit different where only 4 people get out instead of 6. So definitely, I still want to be able to get out of bracket 1, but I do want to set the goal a bit higher. So 2 brackets is what I want. Right now, the thing is that like I am keeping track of everything as far as like brackets go and where everybody is. So heads up also, if you're in the Discord and you want to be on the top post of like, hey, you're in this bracket and where can we find you? Where can we cheer you on? Please make a post on there and let me know so I can add you in there. But keeping a track of my pool, I originally had Emperor in as my number 1 seed in my pool. I was seeded number 3 or I was seeded number 4. So I would have had to face him at the end. So I've been researching him and looking into him and trying to figure him out. I found out he's a Ken player. He's currently the last winner of a World Warrior that happened in Korea. So like he's one of the top players. And then that post came out about how Jon was in the top 200. And looking in that post, Emperor was crossed off as he's not going to make it. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, like I've been doing all this research and he's not going to make it. So I went to go look it up again. I was like, do I just get a buy then? No, they've already replaced him.
Who they replaced him with?
It's a Japanese Guile player. So it starts with an S. I couldn't think of his name right now, but he's also in that list.
You said something like CUG, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
Sayuji. Yeah, I know who he is. He played 5.
Damn.
Yeah. Played Guile in 5.
Still playing Guile. So hopefully my experience with Sia could work. I actually fought him, not him. I fought Sia in the Honorable Tournament. It's the one that's streaming on your video. I fought him off stream, and it was a lot closer of a match compared to the one that happened a few weeks back. So I'm hoping that experience could hopefully translate and I could do a little better. We'll see. I've actually never researched Sayuji yet, but knowing the fact that you know him and that he's in that top 200 player list, it's going to be a fun fight.
Yeah. So do you say honorable tournament? I was like, we should have a dishonorable tournament where everybody plays like Ken and Luke or something.
Wouldn't it just be that Ihana tournament that happened at the start of Street Fighter 6?
All Honda Wi-Fi encouraged.
Yeah, cheaters encouraged. That one guy going to like 3-4 rounds in without even playing a Street Fighter 6 game.
It'd be nice if our scene was big enough to have like all character tournaments every now and then just for funsies. I think Breezy would get a kick out of that too. The Japanese opponent that I'm projected to lose to, his name is Yuto. And I just before the show started, I just found 26 minutes of Haitani playing against him from 11 days ago. So I had like the brief like paranoia that he's actually like he's doing research for me too.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Probably not, realistically. My ego is big, but not that big. But he plays Cammy, which is traditionally a very difficult matchup for me. I remember playing Ken and being like, oh, this matchup's so much easier than Ken, and Ken loses that. So like Chun's probably really so I'm just gonna hope for like matchup unfamiliarity, or that if I can find something in that 26 minutes, as well as the fact that I've practiced with Shogberg and TheXButton and Brain Pipe and Natek and basically every Cammy in Arizona I've played, except for Moss recently and Tyler. Actually, there's so many fucking Cammy players, man. We have so many.
I joined the army. It's great.
Yeah, you're leading the army, man. You're doing great.
Yeah. No, see, that's why, like, yeah, when I found out that TheXButton was playing Cammy, I put that meme up, like, Cammy's everywhere.
Yep. I heard she got nerfed.
We actually had a casual session, I think Sunday. It was me, Brainpipe, and Shogberg. And then one other random person would come into the room. So we had I can't remember who it was, but we had an M. Bison just going through an army of Cammies. And then he left, and someone else joined. And it's just him going through an army of Cammies. So
nice.
That's a great way to learn the matchup, is just have 3 different people play the same character. But at that point, you can't adapt to your opponent. You have to play the character.
I actually thought about doing that because Ice like a month ago had set up like a Guile Gauntlet lobby, and it was like basically like 4 different Guiles, and it was just like, hey, if you want to play, join the lobby. You start at the top, win or lose, you move to the next guy, and then you just keep going down, and then you got to get back in line or leave the lobby. And I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to try to set something up with that, and then I asked in the Sim Discord, and like nobody seemed interested, and I was just like, okay, well that sucks.
It's like speed dating, but casuals.
Yeah, exactly. Look, yeah, like you just play the like you said the different 4 different Dalton players or whatever, and it's just like, all right, let me see how this guy plays. Oh, this guy's got different setups.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool because like me and Shockberg for sure have a different style. Shockberg is more dive kick heavy, more in the air, kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom character, and I'm playing more grounded, trying to play more of the neutral and the footsies, and before I go into a wild Oki game.
Yeah,
I
agree.
So you guys briefly mentioned your goals for Evo, but I was gonna ask it in a different way. So, in kind of like the way like Kickstarter is, right? Like they have like the base Kickstarter goal, and then you have like the stretch goals. So like,
cool.
So like TheXButton. So like, what is like your base goal? Like, what is the bare minimum that you want to be able to do? And then give me the 2 stretch goals. Like you probably said the last one already.
The bare minimum is getting out of first pool again and just keeping the consistency up. I got a taste of it. I don't want to go back. I don't want to be a drowner. So
gotcha.
The first stretch goal will then be getting out of the second pool. And honestly, like at that point, like the third pool, like the third stretch, like, you know what? I want to be a slayer of another high level player. Just if I run into anybody that's notable name, someone I'm familiar with, like it'd be cool to run into Big Bird again and finally beating him this time around. Like just getting.
But you're playing Cammy, and then like he's playing Rashid now, I think.
Yeah, different. We're not even Marissa. Hey, do you want to go back to Marissa? I wonder if you remembers me, but
yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of just the 3 things I really want to happen. I would love to keep going. Mentally, I've already set that goal of getting the 2 pools. We had a talk about like, hey, do you relax after that? Like, I don't want to get to that, but you know, realistically, it might happen. So at this point, I do want to try to like, even if I get eliminated, find some other big name players, some high level people, learn that experience, or try to beat them. I think that'd be really cool. Maybe even not in bracket. Maybe if I could just run into them and get some sets in, especially since the casual stations are so huge. Who knows if they'll have time, but if I see them, you know, I definitely want to challenge.
Yeah, in my experience, the one time that I made it out of pools that first year of Street Fighter V, like I didn't even have time to like play again. Like I was too busy like looking for my other friends and checking on them or watching them and seeing how they were doing.
Sure.
And then it was just like, oh, I need to go take a break and, you know, use the bathroom, get some water, food or whatever. And it's like, then I got to be back at this time. So like, I didn't even have time to like, you know, warm up or play again. And like, honestly, I wasn't even too worried about that. I know some people would have been like, I need to get some games in before, you know, this next round of pools starts. But I was like, that was like the least of my concerns after, you know, checking on everybody else and walking around for hours at that point. So what about you, John? What about you in terms of like, the bare minimum goal, and then like, the 2 stretch goals you got?
Yeah, I mean, like bare minimum goal, like make it out of first round pools. If I don't do that, then I would be. I think I would find myself very disappointed in my play. Even if, again, I'm cutting myself some slack because I have been kind of in a funk and haven't been consistent in playing lately. But like, the honorable tournament that we were talking about earlier, I got second in that one after being on a hiatus for a while, right? So I'm like, I think I can make it out of my first pool, unless something really shitty happens, in which case I deserve to not make it out, and that would bum me out. I think the realistic target for me is going to be somewhere in the middle of second pool, but my stretch goal, I actually consider my stretch goal to be make it into the third pool, make it to where I made it last year. I don't have any delusions that I will exceed that, just because I know that there's way more talented players than me right now.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing is like I've brought that up plenty of times in terms of kind of having realistic expectations for yourself. And it's just like, you know, you talk about like the things that you've been dealing with, you know, over this summer break and stuff like that, and your lack of playing time, and you know, you have good tournament result from the last tournament you played in, but at the same time, it's just like your drive isn't the same. The scene's leveled up, so yeah, I think it's important to have those kind of really realistic expectations because I've seen a lot of people where they don't want to go 0-2, and I'm just like, you do realize that what's the bracket math? Is it like a quarter of the people go 0-2?
Yeah,
Or something
something
like
like
that?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
or like
So it's just like
50%, I think.
yeah. Yeah, so it's just like, like I honestly wouldn't put too much weight in that to some people. Like, it's it's not a good feeling, but at the same time, like, you're playing at the world's biggest tournament. So it's just like, it's like the World Series of Poker or something like that, right? You're playing with like the best people in the world. They're coming out to this thing, and
Hmm.
and you never know who you're gonna run into. You might think he's just some random guy from Virginia, but like, he's Virginia's best guy and like the top 5 in the East Coast that you didn't know about. You don't know.
Even at the highest level of play, right? Like it's still a lot of it has to do with luck and how the bracket shakes out. Um,
Mhm,
like Uma is a good example. The guy who won $1 million of jury, right? Um,
mhm.
he got it was like 15-2 or something when he ran a set against Filipino champ. Filipino champ destroyed him, but
Yeah.
tough shit. Uma never ran into Filipino champ or Dalsum or whatever in this bracket, right? So he walks away with $1 million despite not necessarily being the best player. So it really does come down to like bracket luck, who you run into, the fact that we're playing an asymmetrical game. We mentioned earlier, there's no way it's gonna always be 5-5s. So you might just
Yeah.
run into a bad matchup.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. You could be the best geek player in the world, and you run into who does
Sagat,
everybody say? Yeah, Sagat, or I think Lily. People say Lily's a horrible matchup for him too.
I can see that. I can
Yeah,
see
because
that.
she gets to like level up for free, and he can't. He's got nothing he can do to kind of stop that.
Geef tends to lose to other grapplers. I've noticed. Like Mika
Yeah.
wrecked him in previous games. Birdie beat him pretty bad too. Um, I also got up and because Tim was in our chat saying we're trying to get 2 Chipotle bags. They do not give you 2 Chipotle bags, by the way. They only gave you one last year. The first year I got a $20 Chipotle gift card, which was cool. And then after I made it out of the second pool, I got this bag, and I thought I was badass. And then I think I made it out of the third pool,
You did.
and I got nothing. So yeah, and then during finals they were throwing these out in the audience, and my wife almost got one, and I was like, God damn it, I worked so hard to get this fucking bag, and if she just was just sitting in the right place and Long Island Joe happened to throw one to her, oh man. Oh, he says Tim says you got one bag last year, I need a second bag this year. That's true.
Yeah.
I want a collection of Chipotle bags as my trophy. For
Yeah.
Evo.
I want to
Like-
join the backpack club.
Yeah. Oh, what'd be cool is if they would make. Hopefully, I mean, I'm guessing it would be different. That'd be awesome if they were like different like every year.
You know, I might actually wear this shit. My hitbox or the new hitbox that I have will fit in here.
Oh shit.
Huh.
Yeah.
Am I a shell now or?
Start seeing new commercials.
Yeah. You gonna start slinging that guac around? Yo,
Yeah.
Benny, you gotta try this guac.
No, that's not happening.
So
That is not happening.
one thing that's been in the back of my mind too is because like a lot of the way I've been pulling myself out of the slump and getting back into this is like I gotta be ready for Evo. I committed to this. We put some money into it, and then we got the hotel. We're driving out there, all the other shit, right? But then a lot of the stuff that I want to try, like this jump cancel tech that came up today, or pre-jump cancel tech that came up today, right?
Mhm.
Like the fact that I want to learn Ken. Like I know Ken pretty well, but like I want to really play Ken. All that stuff got put on the back burner before Evo. I want to change my button configuration, all that stuff. So I was curious, and like this is also a question to you too, Benny. Even if you're not going to Evo, like, do you guys have anything that you've been holding back or that you've been wanting to try that you're looking forward to being able to try after Evo or whenever you pick up the game again? Something new or something fancy?
I think my stuff. Wait.
Oh.
Oh, I almost muted myself again. I think I'm good now. Yeah, I'm good. No, I think the thing for me, it's just like it's just been an ongoing journey in terms of like leveling up. Like you talked about when I mentioned taking the break. That we've been going hard since launch, and like I mentioned like making a lot of progress since then. And like I think it was AZ Young that posted in the Discord recently, like one of his like early matches, like early on around launch. And like I've documented stuff on Instagram, like when I was first playing this game, and I'm like, I look at it now and I'm just like, damn, I was terrible. But you know, just to see that progression in terms of like,
Yeah.
you know, combos and optimization and Oki and offensive flow and all that stuff. And then like, you know, you can literally see like my progression in terms of like ranked and like the kind of players that I was able to start beating and stuff like that. That all came with that too. And it's just like it's just been an ongoing thing. And that's why I put in a lot of time. I got over 1,000 hours in Steam on this game, and it's like it's just been an ongoing journey of improvement and little things that I've been working on and adding. And then those crack sessions with Scott, like, you know, learning the Akuma matchup, and like he didn't tell me like when we were playing, but there was it was dealing with like his stand roundhouse. Like
Oh yeah.
he wasn't purposely like throwing matches or anything, but like he would use it
Overuse it,
pretty
right?
often. Yeah, and then it was just like he's like, "Oh, you need to punish that. You know, you need to punish that. You're waiting to punish it, and you should just be pressing the button already." And like, you know,
Yeah.
things would gradually get better, and then like, you know, those kind of things. So it's like I think for me, it's just more optimization of what I'm doing, and then like on X and you know, there's it's Breezy Man, and I think the other guy's forgot the other guy's name. It's like Lester or something. I forgot his name. I'm like messing that up. But they are constantly posting up like tech, because there's this one thing where for characters that have like long super animations, like you can teleport behind them and charge up to level 2 or just release it, and then you can get really nice drive rush combos off of that. Like Jamie has a really extensive super. Zangief's is it the level 2, the projectile one where the cyclone
He
or he
sits in
spins
one
around?
space. Yeah. That has
Yeah,
to do a lot
Chun
with
Li.
like what kind of super it is and how far they run away from you when you teleport behind them, right?
Yeah, I think Chun Li too. Like Chun Li's level 2. I think you could do the same thing. Like if you get the read on that and you teleport behind them, you can send off the level 2 and then drive rush in and get a ton of damage off of that.
Wow.
So it's more like kind of optimizing that kind of stuff, and then yeah, because like I don't know, there's like I said, like like I said at the beginning, I'm not the type of person to really kind of jump characters. There might be other characters that I play kind of on the side, but I always feel like there's still got a ton more stuff to learn and optimize with Sim as it is.
We talk a lot about like competitive motivation on this show. Like I think we had one with Mike and Marvin about like the will to keep winning or whatever. Um, but there's the other angle of this is like when we know that like the three of us aren't winning Evo, the three of us probably aren't even placing top 1 in a tournament in the near future, right? But how do you motivate yourself if it's not the competitive side? And I notice a lot of parallels with musical instruments where it's like, yeah, I might not be scheduled to play live in front of a bunch of people, but there's this new song I want to learn, or there's this new like technique that I want to practice. I want to like learn finger picking or something on a guitar. Like I feel like that like natural curiosity and pursuit of mastery over something is a good driver if you aren't able to have that competitive drive, right? Or if you can't make the tournaments, like that competitive drive is going to fizzle, right? But if you're still naturally curious about all these different things that Sim can do, you don't feel limited by the character.
Yeah,
That's a good way to farm motivation, I think.
yeah. It's just like that kind of that euphoria, like when you actually like hit that combo or that setup or something that you've been working on. Like there was one time, like I
Hell
think we
yeah.
were playing the casual lobby like last week with you guys, and I forgot who I was playing, and like a lot of times like my execution bet is better with like the blast like level 3 combos on the left side on P1, and like I actually did it on P2, and the first thing I thought of was like, oh man, John would be so hyped to fucking see me hit this combo on this side.
Probably.
And I was just like, because like I'd never do it on that side, but I was just like, I did it one time, and I was just like, holy shit! And I was just like, I was so proud of myself.
Maynard, are you looking forward to trying anything new or like any big plans after Evo?
I am gonna give Terry a fair shot. I don't know if I'll make the switch. One of the big also reasons that I play Cammy is because she doesn't have a projectile. So Terry having a projectile would probably be a sway to a no, but I like Terry. When I thought I was good at CVS too, Terry was one of the characters I enjoyed. So, he's just a fun, stupid character with his stupid sayings. So, he is someone I do want to try and see how it works out. So, that's probably like the only like thing I could think of that's near. I haven't thought of like, any new techniques. I've been trying to just new things on the spot. The moment things I learn, like I had that session with Dana Schogberg and then a random other person, and I've been trying to implement 6 roundhouse. It's her
Oh,
donkey
Dana
kick at
loves
home.
that button. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
donkey kick at home. It's something that I've been trying to apply, and I played Freezy recently. I think it was actually just yesterday, and I was able to catch him a few times.
Hey.
So that felt good. I need to be better at converting it and actually making it something worthwhile, but being able to get that first step of getting the hit feels good. So maybe I will be able to apply it and catch some people off guard at Evo. So
Nice.
I was like, you mentioned playing Cammy because she didn't have a projectile. When you played 5, I remember you played Chun. Did you play anybody else beside Chun like later on?
I mean, to be fair, like I only played 5 up until Evo because Alex was released after, and I never played the game since Alex release.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
At that point, I think I was diving into Overwatch, unfortunately.
Oh, okay,
Different kind of
gotcha.
projectiles then.
Yeah, different projectile. One where I could point and click. You can't click heads in Street Fighter, unfortunately.
Did I click on the head faster than the other guy? That's what Oh man, I do that sometimes when I run up to Jess when she's playing, and I'm like, "Did you click on the head?" She's like, "Go away."
It's funny because Honorable is playing Valorant. I'm sorry, Honorable. I know you're here. I don't know if it's cool to tell the story, but I'm telling it anyways. But Honorable is talking about, man, these kids, they're so fast. They swipe really quick. They click on my head too fast. I'm like, hey, Honorable, as a boomer of the gaming generation, we can't click heads faster than them. You gotta just back the hell up. And I'm just like trying to teach them about like the strategy of it's like, hey, when you see them, don't even repeat. Just get the hell out of there. We're old. We can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh man, just thinking about that, it just makes me think of like kind of like the different strategies that you employ, like not just being older, because it made me think about like Fortnite, because like you saw like when Fortnite was huge and like the builds, like the people, building up the stairs and the buildings and stuff like that, and like when I would play with friends, like we knew we couldn't keep up with that, and so we would make like it was like I was pretty much like the dedicated builder, and I would be able to build a real simple structure, and it came down to like kind of like just like gunfight tactics, and it's just like, all right, I'll build a structure, you guys set up, and like we'll just focus fire on somebody, and we can take these guys down this way because we're not going to be able to compete in this other method. Like we're not good enough for that, but we can still win other ways. Oh man.
As you were talking, you mentioned playing with friends, right? And motivating factors and whatnot. And I was thinking about Rick's old Capcom Cup parties too. And I realized just how much like playing with my friends motivated me to keep coming out to playing games. Like that's that's what got me into the community in the first place. I had no shot at winning when I first joined. So it was impossible to make that a motivator.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, this game has captured our attention like ravenously for a year, for longer even because of the beta. Like, and I just wonder, like, compared to online Joe Schmo, who's just there's no local scene and all they can do is just sit and play online at home, like, which is still perfectly viable in today's day and age, but like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't thrive in that environment. And I think about the impact that community truly has on our ability to achieve great things in this game. Um, so I joke about top 200, despite not even competing in the tournament yet. I joke about that, but like I know that I wouldn't be there without all of the help that I got from everybody that I played along the way. And oh man, that's sappy as shit. And that's cliche, but community is what brings you. Like again, speaking as somebody that's still dealing with depression and stuff like that, like that's the stuff that gets me out of bed. Is the impact that you have on other people, the fact that we're all like kind of mentoring this young whiz kid, Freezy, the
Yeah.
fact that like Maynard and Honorable have like taken up the mantle as like really strong TOs and leaders in the Spiral Series Discord. Like, I don't know. I find all that worth it. I had briefly thought that maybe like I wasn't going to ever achieve what I did last year, and I wasn't going to be the strongest player anymore, and therefore like I won't have the pull or like all this like self-doubt stuff. And I realized that the people that I play with don't play with me because I placed high at Defend the North one year. It's because we're friends, and
Yeah.
that's what gets me going out to TGC again, despite crippling social anxiety after three weeks of isolation. So I'm very
Yeah.
grateful to our scene. I'm grateful to our everyone that we talked to. We actually haven't even had Honorable on the show yet. We should totally do that because he's a mod on this channel. He's been a mod in the Discord. He's running his own tournaments. Like, so
Post Evo show.
post Evo. Yep. Oh yeah, and then we got to make sure too, because every year this happens, Evo happens, and then the whole world explodes, and suddenly everybody wants to play fighting games, and everyone's like, "When's locals? Where's casuals?" And the people that are actually in the fighting game community are like, "I'm exhausted. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I just got back from Evo. I probably got sick at Evo. I don't even want to think about that right now." And everyone else is like, "Locals, locals, locals. We need to get everyone. TGC blows up, So I'm
Yeah.
very
I mean,
curious
that's
about
why,
how this
like I
looks.
said, that's why I said, like, when it came to like me making that that post about taking a break, a lot of it was like that whole kind of down mood that I get in when I realize like I can't go to Evo and see my friends and compete. But then like you said, like, I see tournament matches and stuff gets hype and whatever, and then I'm just like, you know what? I want to play. I want to go play again. And it's just like, oh man.
Dude, when
I think
Chase almost beat John at one of the down to the wires, and he was went on a tear, like
Mhm.
it's shit like that when my friends do well, and it's inspiring. It's just you want to play more because you're like, one, I can probably beat these guys, and then two, my friends did great. I want to make sure that I want to show them where I think they could improve, and I want to push them further and further. That's my motivator nowadays. Is I'm like, Freezy's got holes in his game, Big Mac's got holes in his game, Sia's got holes in his game. I'm gonna punch, I'm gonna really like hammer that shit home so they work on it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's great. It's great.
yeah, man. Oh man.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll probably be playing later this week.
We got him. We got him back. We got him back.
Uh,
And again, we're going over because we've been actually we're at a normal show length time at this point. But one of the things that I noticed that when we had that hiatus is like it was right when Bison came out, and we didn't really like have time to digest also like the patch. Like we did like knee jerk reaction stuff. But I am curious about like, we are now a couple months in, the dust is settled, Bison's around, some of the inflammatory language around him has kind of subsided in favor of the next thing.
yeah.
So I'm curious about like what's your impression of season 2 now that we're a little bit deeper into it.
You want to go first, Maynard? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I like it overall. I'm not gonna lie. Like right before season 2 dropped, like I was learning Cammy. I was in a deep state of shock of just like trying to learn a new character and trying to balance learning and absorbing all the information. I just got to step away and play something else just to kind of like let the stuff I learned from Street Fighter marinate. So like at that point, I was like looking for other games to also play that like wouldn't be too deep. But one of the themes I almost fell into was an MMO. And I'm so glad that season 2 dropped because
They got you out of the MMO.
Season 2 stopped me from getting into an MMO. So I'm like, all right, thank goodness. Season 2 is great. I love everything about it. Like, Akuma is crazy, but like I don't think he's like unfair. So that feels good. M. Bison is also crazy, and I hated him originally, but now I'm also feeling like he's kind of in a like he's still good, but I don't feel like he's like number one, like the knee-jerk reaction I initially had with him.
Yeah.
Cammy felt like she survived the patch really well. The jab damage loss sucks, but everybody lost that, so it's like not even a big deal. And other than that, like being able to target combo and just do whatever you want after it feels amazing. Like I'm not gonna downplay that at all. Like just fierce roundhouse and whatever the fuck you want. You could get damage. You could get a crazy Oki follow up into an overhead or a throw. Like, damn, it feels so good.
Yeah.
So, I love it. The patch was great. It was a great injection into the game, and everything just feels good. And I'm kind of glad that so many people are playing the game.
Nice. Yeah, when it came to Dawson, like there wasn't any like huge changes with the stuff that he got. The jab nerf was kind of a big deal because like from what I saw on the Sim Discord, because like typically you would go for the B&B was to go into the jab drive cancel into blast, and like a lot of people were questioning whether it was worth the meter now because the damage wasn't as good, and a lot of people were just kind of going for jab into EX fireball, which I was already doing and was kind of. I think Jon and other people were just like, I think you waste meter doing that. And then
Yep.
after the patch, it was just like, that might be the more optimal thing to do now.
Yeah, now you have an excuse.
Yeah. But I mean, so in some way, it made me kind of evolve because like you do get Oki off of the blast stuff, and like I still kind of gravitate to doing that, but it did make me kind of evolve in the sense of finding what I could do off of just the fireball too, or even just being okay with just resetting the neutral because like as Dawson, like you're perfectly okay with somebody being knocked down and just kind of being at a distance from them. So like I saw a lot of people kind of doom and gloom with Sim talking about changing characters and stuff like that. Like like I said, like that's not gonna happen with me. Akuma wise, like I don't really have a problem with Akuma. I think that's actually a good, somewhat even matchup with Sim. So I like that matchup. Bison, on the other hand, I think that matchup is hell in a lot of situations.
It
And
looks
like,
bad.
yeah, mainly just like the scissor thing. Once he gets kind of pressure going, like Sim doesn't really have a good answer to deal with that. Like there's trade situations which are lead to combos for Bison, or there's really nothing I can really do other than try to get a perfect parry or other things like that. So that matchup in that situation really kind of sucks. Psycho Crusher is a pain in the ass because like it's almost like I liken it to DJ's EX Fire or OD Fireball because you have to float a little bit higher to avoid it entirely. Otherwise, you're getting clipped, and like I'm sure you guys have gotten hit by Psycho Crusher to level 3 or whatever the hell he wants to do after that, and yeah, so that's a pain in the ass for Sim to deal with, and then um, Devil's Reverse is probably the other thing, but I've found that I could pretty much once I see him kind of go to the air for that, I can usually teleport, and it kind of just throws off like where he wants to go, and I kind of just like
I'm so jealous.
yeah, I kind of just reset the situation. So it's like
Yeah, that's good.
if I play people that want to like abuse that, I'm more than happy to be like, okay, well, we can just kind of go back to where we're where we're at the distance. The people that like abuse scissors, like when I was playing like Old Man River Jeff, like oh man, like it was hell trying to like just get him off of me. So yeah, I think he's a good character offensively, and I mean he's got the same defensive deficiencies that almost every other character has that doesn't have a DP. So it's just like I thought it was kind of funny. Like we have our little group chat, and when Jeff was talking about like, oh man, I don't know what to do with Bison defensively because he used to play Marissa, and like it was just like
Same
Gladius,
thing.
Gladius, Gladius, and I'm just like, yeah, he'd have other things, but he at least had that, and then he was playing Akuma when Akuma came out, and then he had DP, so I was just like, now he's back to a character that has even less defensive tools to deal with than even Marissa did. So I'm just like, I was kind of just like sitting back, kind of like laughing at it, and I was like, welcome to my world. I was like, time to guess.
Yep. Do you guys think that the general criticism of this game is that it's too offensive, and then once you get you get in the corner and then they're throw looping you, or like just the offense is really oppressive once you're in the corner? And I was curious if, like, with all the changes that they made in season 2, do you guys feel like that issue has been addressed? Would you like drive reversal as a wake up option, as an example? Like, is that something? Do you guys think it's in a good spot now? Does it need to be improved? Does it address the issue?
I would say it still needs to be improved because like it's easy to kind of counter that. Just even with jabs, like I've noticed the same thing myself. Like if I just jab a couple times and I was like I see it, then I can punish it myself too. So like I think defensively, like that still needs work as a kind of universal thing. If that's what they're going to try to or how they're going to try to fix it in the future. Because I don't agree with like I've seen takes from like James Chen and stuff where they're just like you can't be viable if you don't have an EXDP, and I'm just like I don't think that's true either. I mean, it definitely helps, but like at the same time, I don't want every character to have that either. Like,
Yeah,
I don't. Again, it goes back to the whole like just gonna homogenize everything, give everybody a DP. Cool, we can all get out of the situations the same way. Like, I don't want that.
I remember when I picked up it was Guilty Gear Xrd. I felt relieved because like only 2 characters had DPs and that was it. So I could just run my offense and not have to worry about getting DP'd unless it was Soul or
Yeah.
Kai.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the corner stuff, like I mean, it's like I've basically almost come to terms with it, and it's just like it's easy to be like, you know what, I'm in the corner and this sucks and I hate this game. And for me, it's just kind of like I've always just kind of like self-reflected and be like, why am I in the corner right now? Like
Sure.
what led to this situation? Did I get hit in neutral? Did I throw a heavy and whatever? One of the guys in the Sim Discord, he does replay reviews and he talks about I think he referred to it as investing in frames or something like that. And like, you're making a heavy investment, throwing out a fierce, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like,
That's the way to put it.
that's a very high risk decision to make at certain spaces, right? Like,
Yeah.
why are you doing it at this point, right? If I throw it full screen, sure, roundhouse is probably not going to get me killed. If I throw it in fireball spacing, it's probably going to get me taken to the corner and probably going to lead to death. So it's just like, I think about the scenarios in that sense and just like what led me here and how can I prevent that, as the match continues.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's why like a lot of times it's not like that's the biggest thing that I see is like people dealing with or complaining about the corner or complaining about drive rush. And the one thing that I noticed, like me and Scott, we decided not to play Street Fighter the last time we were working together. We ended up just watching Topanga.
Oh,
we were watching
viewing party.
Yeah, we were watching what was that Zangief player's name? I forgot his
Kobayan.
name. Kobayan, yeah. We were watching him go through that group. And I remarked to him that like
He fucked
this
up
game,
Momochi, by the way. I watched that set last night. That was so bad. Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
he was
though.
like no. It's like and I made a remark about how the game is so much different at high level than it is kind of at that platinum and lower level or even like diamond.
Yeah.
And it's just like because you don't have it's not that it's the right way to play. It's just that people are more they recognize like, the riskiness of a lot of the things that they shouldn't be doing, right? And there's not that kind of like throw yourself at the game kind of thing. And then the biggest thing I was noticing was just like how well they check drive rush. And and it's just like that's the biggest thing that I see with the best players in the world is how well they check drive rush. And like so for me it's again it goes back to like why am I in this situation? And it's like, oh, because I didn't check that drive rush. And a lot of times that's what happens in the games where I'm getting taken to the corner. It's just like I saw the drive rush and I think about what button did I just press? And it's like looking at the spacing and it's just like the button I pressed was too slow. That's why I got hit. That's why I'm getting taken to the corner. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm dead. Right? Like that's all snowballed. So it's looking at things like that and just kind of just recognizing that like, if these guys are figuring out how to deal with this, like it's not as big of a like I don't want to say it's not as big of a problem. At the lower levels, I could definitely see how like somebody drive rushing you constantly and you don't know how to deal with it. That could be frustrating. But if you want to ascend to that next level, it's learning how to deal with that. And then also kind of the other thing Scott was mentioning was like kind of like the Japanese mentality. Like you don't see them on Twitter constantly bitching about everything, right? They play the game. If they don't think a character's viable, they're like, I'm not gonna play it anymore. You know, DJ, look at the people now.
Oh,
Like,
Fudo? Yeah, Fudo switching
yeah,
to Ed. Ed is like the bandwagon character for Japan, right?
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you don't see, oh man, you know, they might make remarks about this character or whatever, but you don't see the constant discourse about, you know, this game sucks and whatever. It's like, well, I don't think he's viable anymore. I'm just gonna play somebody else.
Yep. I think just like outwardly complaining about things is not a huge. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna make assumptions about Japanese culture, but at the very least, it doesn't
Yeah,
seem as in front of people like outward compared to American culture.
true.
Like
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
call it
that's a
French
better way to
fries,
put it.
if we call them French fries instead of freedom fries, well, there will be outcry, right? Oh man, cool. Well, this was a good one. We caught up over with 2 months worth of content in a quick 2 hour period here.
Real quick, before we close out, though, I do want to also make one more announcement.
Oh yeah.
So August 1st, we actually are having our team battle.
Oh,
So
yeah.
post Evo, we're having Arizona versus Colorado. We gotta put our booger eating to the side and make them eat boogers. So I want to announce the team, and I'll even announce their team as well because I actually just found out and they gave me the poster. I need to make a post about
Yeah,
it. So
do you care if I put the image on the podcast stream here, or is
let
that
me.
something?
I need to get you the updated one because of the ed change. But yeah, put it up.
Okay, I'll put it up. And
Yeah, I'll just put the updated one in the Discord in a bit. But
okay.
just to make the announcement, on the we are having a 7v7, and in that 7, we're gonna have their lowest player fight our lowest, and climb up all the way to our best player fighting their best player. So we are gonna have the stream open up with our honorable, who's playing M Bison, fighting their Shogun, who's playing DJ. We have It's Like Orange playing Luke versus their Manon, who is CG Roop. I will be playing Cammy, fighting their Marissa player named Rick Roop. We have Porta John himself fighting a Revenant Dad who's playing Ed. I don't know if it's a modern. We originally thought it was modern.
It's modern.
Oh,
so,
damn.
That's fair. I'll roll with it.
We have Big Mac Combo 98 who's playing Ree, fighting off True Tech who's playing Kimberly.
True Tech's good.
We have Sia playing Guile, fighting Raven is Raw. And then we have Freezy who's playing Blanca, fighting Slugbug, which is their jury. And it's going to be big. It's 7 first of 5s, which is insane. It's going to be a long night, but I'm really excited to represent Arizona and to try to take out one of these states, show them who's the better team. So
nice. Yeah, that's I originally wanted to participate in that, but like, yeah, just because my day's off, I can't. It should be the time I should be sleeping. I mean, I'll tune into that probably whenever I wake up that day. See how things are going. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how things go with that. Speaking of Colorado, that brings me back to Rewired, the first Rewired, and I remember Nick called me out. He was like, "Hey, you want to play Colorado? I think they were doing a 5v5 at the time, like outside of the main ballroom or whatever." And they're like, "Yeah, we want you to play." And the one thing I always remember is Velociraptor John just telling me, he's like, "All those things we tell you not to do, Benny, do them now." And like I ended up beating like whoever I had to play, or a couple players or something, and like they were hyping me up, and I was just like, it was a great time. So it's like the fact that there's a Colorado thing going on too. I was just like, that's awesome.
That's cool. I didn't realize that was Colorado. I remember hearing about that story, but now knowing it's Colorado trying to get their run back, I actually have no clue what the final score is on that one. But
yeah, I know we won that one. I just don't know what it was. I don't know if they did another one the following Rewired, but I just remember that first one because I participated in that one.
I think it was the second Rewired. I know they did a AZ versus Colorado then too.
Oh, okay. So then they did do it again. Okay.
Yeah, I remember I was not a part of that team, but I ended up getting 4th or 3rd at that tournament.
Yeah. I think you were 4th in that tournament.
4th, yeah.
Yeah,
I was at the opera that night. because I remember that very well actually. That was Jess and I had just started dating, and then she wanted to come with me to Tucson, and we turned it into like a date almost, like a trip, you know. But then we were like, okay,
Yeah.
we need to actually go do a real date while we're in Tucson, so we went to go see an opera. And then
Nice.
in the meantime, like the Arizona guys were beasting on Colorado, so we'll try to uphold that legacy in the coming weeks here.
That's awesome. I actually didn't realize that there's a Street Fighter V rivalry from back then, and we're taking it now into 6.
I'm not sure how many people from that team are on this team, or if it's even the same group, because Colorado's a pretty big scene too, if I recall correctly.
That's fair.
My position on this team, like I didn't originally sign up for it. One, because I was in my funk, but then two, like I do think I'm at the point where like I want to make sure that the people that are in the scene, the younger folks that are in the scene and have like more of the drive, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, that they're the ones like kind of taking leadership positions and that I get out of the way. But then I saw Benny was on it and Benny couldn't make it, and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna take someone's spot, I'm not taking a spot for the future generation. It's just me and we'll have at least one old man spot on the team, or 3 of us technically. You, Maynard, me, and it's like orange. I guess technically Cody too.
Yeah.
He's over 30.
Oh man, this was great, man. Like, I mean,
I missed
the break,
our podcast. Yeah.
the break just kind of happened to coincide with just a lot of stuff happening for both of us, and that's cool. Like, you know, it's fine. It pushes back our climb to episode 100, but that'll come eventually by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But I wish you guys good luck at Evo, and we'll set up probably the post Evo show sometime next week. I should be good to do that.
Yeah, I think we still need to hammer out like what our actual real schedule is going to be like. I think we settled on Thursday nights, but then there's also something coming up on next Thursday if I recall correctly. I don't know, I'll figure something out. But
yeah, I think we might go back to Tuesdays just because of my schedule.
Oh, it's Tuesdays? Cool. Yeah. So we'll figure that out. Oh, let's talk after this. This is why we went on the break. Okay. Any shout outs on the way out, Maynard?
Nothing else. And everyone, Arizona that's going out to Evo, good luck. Rip it up out there. I want you guys to go far, and also stay hydrated. Make sure you take care of yourself out there.
Cheers. Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been the Absolute Guard Podcast, episode 86 with Jon, Benny, and Maynard. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Spiral Series, YouTube at youtube.com/Spiral Series, and an Apple Podcast and Spotify under Absolute Guard. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you hopefully not in 4 more weeks.
Later, guys.